Okay. Hey, Jared. Week
Hello,
week 11.
we're week
We're
11.
doing it. Anyway,
Yes.
awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to pull this up right now just so we can start going. It's going to be an interesting week this week. Lots of good games.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go for it. We'll start at the bottom. Okay. I just want
But
to point out
fine.
three different,
Yeah.
like, the biggest one, we'll talk about this in a second. UCLA, Nebraska. Wow. 2-8. Wow. Anyway, we'll talk about this a little bit, but this is going to be an interesting week. And even maybe talking about last week, that was a big upset week and par for the course. I picked all the wrong upsets, so
I know.
that's super fun.
It was rough. It was rough. I was picking Navy. I had it picked, and then at the last minute I changed to North
I did
Texas.
too. I did
And I
too.
was like, all right.
Well,
So
except I
uh,
didn't change the last minute, and that's
oh,
why I didn't. Yeah. So
I
you were
did.
lucky.
So sorry for misleading people, but I did not pick my upset.
In fact, maybe the theme of this is pick the opposite of what Camille and Jared pick as the upset because
Yeah.
I almost never pick it, but there's many weeks I've regretted it. So, all right,
Yeah.
we'll get into this week. So, Jacksonville State and UTEP. Okay, first of all, I just want to point out the
I
spread
don't know.
had both of these, but it had the negative 1 point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out money line. It just looks like weird to me. But then on the other side, Jacksonville State. So it looks like it can go either way. Although what's tripping me up about UTEP getting the edge on this is they're like 2-5, aren't they? Like some ridiculous
Yeah. It's 2-6.
two and
Yeah.
six. And so it's like what is triggering poor, who are they? Yeah, I'm trying to find them on the thing. 5-3 and UTEP is
Mhm.
getting like that's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
is home field advantage? I mean, what happened? Is the quarterback injury? Like, it makes you
yeah,
ask
what's
questions like that.
happening?
Like, what
Yeah.
happened that this
Yeah.
is the case? It's an away game for Jacksonville State, but it's still like, what?
Yeah,
Anyway,
like why?
so for that reason, I'd keep it low.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking at records, it's like, oh, put Jacksonville State up, you
Yeah,
know?
this is where I would put it up because if you're going to pick a lot of upsets this week, you're going to need something to go up. And a 5-3 versus a 2-6, I feel more confident in a 5-3. That at least move it up a little.
I
But
will say over the years, one of my kind of mantras that I remind myself is if you don't know about enough about the team, don't put them up high.
yeah,
Like kind of five and below. Like I wouldn't go higher than 4 or 5 if I were to move it up because I just don't know enough.
yeah, I
So
agree. I agree with that.
um anyway,
Cool. All right, let's go on to Nebraska and UCLA.
I mean UCLA is a mess.
They're a mess and they're unpredictable, and that's what makes this interesting. I do think Nebraska garners a little bit more respect
Yeah.
than this. It's at home at UCLA, but I was like, that kind of means nothing. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the crowds at UCLA? Like
Like,
they're not
yeah, they didn't get,
I don't
yeah,
know that there's a home field advantage
no.
there.
And Nebraska's 6-3. Who have they lost to? I don't think I have the,
USC, Minnesota,
uh,
and Michigan.
okay, which are
Akron,
all
Michigan.
in the running on the top 25. Well, maybe
They're
not
not
Minnesota.
they're not bad. Um,
So it's not
and
terrible losses.
USC is just in and out of
Yeah.
top 25. So I mean they're a good team, but it's like Michigan, I don't know. You don't hear anything about them anymore. I feel
No, they're
like.
in the top. They're in the
Are
top.
they?
Yeah, yeah.
They're quiet. They're just kind of I think
Well,
they're kind of like USC. It's like, what are you?
well,
I
and,
don't
and
know what you
because
are.
they really haven't been in Pick'em, we don't really know too much
Right.
about them, to be honest. And
Exactly.
so I feel like a lot of the Big Ten this year really hasn't made an appearance too
Yeah.
much in Pick'em. It's hugely the SEC and Big 12. And some of
Mhm.
the ACC games, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, when you don't have parity in your conference, you're not going to be on Pick'em.
Right.
So
So
I think, go ahead.
I'm with you. I'm not an 8 confidence in Nebraska, but this
I'm
is
a
another one
Nebraska.
I'd probably go Nebraska, move them up a smidge, maybe
Yeah,
split the difference here.
I agree. 100%, like maybe a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Florida State and Clemson.
Man, preseason, this
This was
would
like
have
the
been
game.
the
Yeah.
matchup. Yeah, you look at this, circle it. I'm sure people did circle it on their calendar, and now it's
Mhm.
kind of like, oh,
Like, should I
Florida
go? I
State's
don't know.
4-4 and Clemson's 3-5, and
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I don't trust either team with
No,
how they're playing.
no.
So, I
But
mean,
I
I don't
do
know.
think I like Florida State's quarterback. I don't recall his name at the moment, but like
Castellanos.
Castellanos, yeah. I think I don't know. And this has who have they lost to? Again, you have this up on your
Who,
screen
Florida
there.
State,
Yeah, Florida State.
Stanford, Pitt, Miami, University of Virginia. Who
So half of
else?
those are decent losses, and the others are like
Stanford.
probably solid teams. Stanford,
And
I'm not
then
sure.
they beat Alabama. That's their good win. But then outside of that, their wins are
Wait,
against
that's right. They
nobody.
beat Alabama. To be honest, that's decent win right now.
That
But it
that
hasn't
is
really played out the rest of the season. So
right.
yeah. The
I
thing is, I just can't pick Klinsman. I can't.
they're all over the place. I was gonna say go with the home team, but keep it low. I don't know.
Well, that's where it's like 3-2 on both sides. It has either one. So I think it goes
Yeah,
back to like roll the dice at this
it
point.
is. It is a toss
Yeah.
up for sure.
Um,
For
yeah.
sure.
I think I would pick Florida State on this one. Would you pick Clemson then?
I think I'd go with Clemson on it, but
Okay.
I have zero faith
In either
in
team.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And speaking of teams we don't know, Southern Miss and Arkansas State. This is one where it's just like, all right, I'm gonna have to trust the numbers.
Right. They're both around the same spot.
Yeah.
You kind of keep them there. I like Southern Miss's logo, Golden Eagles. That's
Yeah.
nice.
They're 6-2. Arkansas is 5-4. And so,
In conference, Southern Miss is 4-0 and Arkansas State's 4-1. So like in conference,
ooh,
it's a better matchup,
that's
I
tight.
think. Yeah.
Okay. I don't
But
know. This feels like a little hype for me then with that kind of like I would probably put UCLA in I would switch those two, maybe.
yeah,
Or
I
scooch
could
them
see
all
that.
down.
I
Mhm.
wouldn't mind moving these guys down. Again, this is kind of one of those I don't know
I
these
don't know.
teams.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I would do Nebraska and UCLA at 4, then scoot all the rest of them down. That's kind of how
mhm,
I would do it.
could see that.
Um, and then okay, so I guess we're both kind of Southern Miss question mark.
It's kind of trusting the odds
Trusting, yeah.
makers and stuff on this
And
one. Yeah.
because both sides agree, both matchup predictor and the spread, I think I would stick with that.
Yeah.
Also, considering the fact that if everybody else is using a strategy like that, if you lose, they all lose, so it doesn't it's kind of a
Yeah.
wash. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So, Kansas State and Arizona, or Kansas and Arizona,
Kansas and Arizona.
much different than
I I think
this will be a game, I think.
this will be because it's like I feel like Kansas is kind of
Hmm.
reeling here a little bit. They lost to Cincinnati, but then they beat UCF. Texas Tech lost. Kansas State lost. Beat Oklahoma State. So they're beating the bad teams
Hmm.
and they're not beating the good teams. And I do think Arizona is kind of in that middle of the
I
pack.
they're the
Like,
mid-tier teams, so it's Kansas,
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
So another good game. It's kind of it's not to the extent of UCLA, but I was going to say kind of a Nebraska UCLA type
Nebraska,
game.
yeah. I agree. It's about
But
that tier. Hmm.
but I think, at least in my mind, Arizona, I think, is kind of like, even though the records are very similar, I've watched an Arizona game. I'm like, they are physical, they are good. They just can't put it together. And the only Kansas game I watched was that first one where I was like, oh yeah, they look okay, they look good.
So I watched
But
the Cincinnati Kansas game, and I think what I will say is Cincinnati looked really good in that game, but they also Kansas looked good. That was a tight
mm,
game of back and forth and back. It was a very offensive game. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm so offended.
Um, yeah. But I think is okay, so is the bias of watching BYU going to double overtime or whatever it was with Arizona also influencing the fact that we're thinking Arizona here? Because that's what I keep
Could
thinking. I was
be.
like, I mean, we kind of saw the best of Arizona play BYU, but ha
Mhm.
have they shown the best of themselves every time they played? I don't think so. Um,
Yeah, that's true.
so I
They
feel like
did
go ahead.
cream Colorado last week, but Colorado I feel like is reeling. They're kind of tanking here. Not tanking like purposely, but they're just not.
I think it's hard to understand Colorado because for a minute they were like, "Oh, are they surging?" And then it's like they just fell apart. Like, did somebody just
Right.
enter the transfer portal or get,
I don't
sick or
know.
something? I don't know. So, to be
I
honest, I actually might pick Kansas on this one.
I'm still leaning Arizona. It's at home too, so I'll kind of
That's
give them
true.
that.
Hmm.
But I again, one of those wouldn't put higher than a 5 here. I think it's
Yeah,
in a
I
good
would.
spot,
Yeah.
and I'd go Arizona if I felt comfortable with someone else below. Like if I learned more about Southern
Hmm.
Miss or Jacksonville State, maybe I move this one lower.
Yeah,
But
I agree. I think to be safe with the odds makers and everybody else's strategy, you'd be safe to pick Arizona, but this is a potential upset in my mind.
yeah, I agree.
Iowa State and TCU. Man, we're just going right through the Big 12, aren't we?
Man, that's because there's parity and
So
it
much
you
parity.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's makes it entertaining. But dude, Iowa State, 4 losses in a row against good competition generally.
Yeah.
TCU, their best win last 4 games is probably the Baylor win.
Hmm.
Um, and they lost to Kansas State. So
They
I
lost to
mean,
Kansas State. Oh, that's right.
yeah.
That kind of
So
throws it. Yeah.
I'm I'm kind of going with the home team here,
Yeah. I
and I'm kind of going with Rocco Becht.
go back to.
Watching him BYU, like he was good, but then he has moments of just like, what are you doing? And then I watched a little of that ASU game, and it's like same thing. It's like he was good, and then just some weird throw,
Is
and
he
I'm like,
is he a
what's
first?
going on?
I feel like he's a first half quarterback.
I could
Like
see that. Yeah,
because he did well in the first half in that game, and I didn't see Arizona State, but at least I saw it be competitive at the very beginning of that game, and then
yeah.
kind of like he fell apart. Um, or
And they had a
maybe,
chance to win it, Iowa State, and like
yeah,
he
that's
threw a
true.
pick, then they got the ball back, and they couldn't drive. Like they just ran out of time.
Yeah.
So,
They
but
have it
then
in him.
I yeah, they have it in them. They have the talent. They just can't put it together. It's kind of a Colorado-esque. Like it's like you see the talent, but you got to put it together. But TCU, I feel like it's like every time I believe in them, it's kind of like, oh nope, oh
Yes.
yeah, oh nope, nope. Okay, so
Remember when they were in
that's
like the top 15 earlier this
yeah,
season? And then all of a sudden it's
yeah,
like, oh, just kidding. Bad on us for putting you there. Um,
right.
I I actually think out of the two teams, TCU has put together a more stable team. Um,
Hmm.
and it's at home, and I think TCU does well at home. But I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be a close game, and I'll be hard fought. Um, I I think what I've realized about Iowa State is, man, they have gone through the gauntlet at the end of the season. They kind of had a cushy beginning of the season. Now I
Hmm.
mean, now that we know, at first it was like, oh, you're playing Kansas State. Oh, that's a big game. Whoa, let's put in
Right.
Ireland. And now it's like, that was kind of a piece of cakewalk.
Yeah.
But having like BYU, TCU, like all these other like that's kind of and who they lose to last week. I mean, they've lost four in a row.
Arizona State. Yeah, Cincinnati,
Arizona,
Colorado, BYU, Arizona State.
and that's a gauntlet
Yeah,
right
that's a good
there.
series.
And then they're going to TCU, and I think aren't they playing either
Kansas,
Utah
Oklahoma
or
State.
okay,
Kansas,
okay.
Oklahoma State
Then
after
they're
that.
but even
So they're
Kansas, I think, would be a hard
yeah.
one for them. So I think they're proven to be mid to low. I feel like TCU is mid. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe that's unfair. I do think TCU is the winner in this one,
I think
but I can
so. But
yeah,
again, wouldn't be shocked.
wouldn't be shocked.
But Iowa State's coming off 4 losses, and I said this last week. They're coming off 3 losses. Do they
Do
step
they
it
pick
up
it
and
up?
come out firing, or are they like down? And I think it's the same thing. It's like it was a close Arizona State loss. So it's like, do they still have some fire, or are they kind of like
Well,
down a
how many?
little bit?
I guess the question is, how many weeks do we have to ask that to realize they don't
I
have anything
know,
left? You know
right?
what I mean? Like, so maybe we answered that question by saying, probably not.
Yeah,
Um, I think the safest bet is TCU at this point.
yeah. It's up kind of high for me, but
Yeah.
I think we're getting to that point where it's like you
Who
can't
else is going to
move
go
much
lower? Yeah.
down. Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Um, okay. And then let's see. I'm thinking Oregon, Iowa. What do we think about that?
I mean, I take Oregon, just gut feel. But I will say this about Oregon. I feel like they're just
They're untested.
quietly up there. Yeah. Their their test was Penn State, which you can make the argument like that's when Penn State was like still relevant, but it's like but were they like,
Uh,
they, or
yeah.
did they get exposed? And
Well,
then they lost to Indiana.
Indiana, you know, I
So
yeah,
yeah,
keep going. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. You're good.
So I think from my perspective, and we'll be talking about this in our next little thing, but I really appreciate the way at least the CFP committee decided to rank these guys. I still think they're way too high. But
Mhm.
they are just a one-loss team still. So so yeah, I think but I think Iowa has some chops. I think aren't they a two-loss
Mhm.
team? They're a
Two
two-loss
lost team to Iowa State and Indiana. The Iowa State loss is looking worse and worse,
team.
but
If I remember correctly, Indiana, that wasn't a big margin.
yeah, 5 point loss. So
Yeah,
it wasn't,
which
and
is
they held them. Indiana is explosive. They held them to 20 points.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I see an upset on this one.
I was just thinking, I was like, maybe this is my upset pick of the week because
There's a
it's
lot of
at
choices
Iowa.
this week. Yeah, yeah,
And I think
yeah,
traditionally, and again, how I feel about historical bias, but
yeah.
Iowa is tough, physical, and Oregon is very much that quick kind of like
They're scrappy.
you don't think of Oregon as tough physical typically.
Mm-mm.
You think of Iowa as tough physical. So it'll
Yeah.
be an interesting. I think of Oregon as quick, like they're going to beat you with their skill players, like
Hmm.
on the edge and stuff. And yeah, they got big guys, and yeah, they're physical, but
Well, aren't they the ones
Iowa,
that created the no huddle defense or something like that, or no
yeah,
huddle offense? Like
I don't know that they created it, but
they mastered
they
it.
implemented it the whole game. Like,
Yeah,
let's go fast.
that's
Let's get
right.
as many
That's
plays
right.
off as we can.
Yeah, and for
Um,
me, they were very scrappy back in those. I can't remember who was the quarterback at the, was it? I mean, I can't even try to guess. Anyway,
yeah,
but I remember, yeah, I feel like Oregon, you're right. It's skilled players, but it's also scrappy. And it's always, I feel like over time, because they can get skilled players, they've been able to make something out of it. But I also think, I just don't feel like I think their skilled players aren't as developed and they're getting a lot of credit right
yeah.
now. And so
I
because I
yeah.
see Oregon kind of like a USC that just kind of caught some breaks, you know?
They did give them some credit with the Penn State
Sure.
win, some, but it's not like you beat Penn State anymore. And then they immediately lost to Indiana. Outside of those two games, they haven't played anyone.
Oh, yeah.
So
And so again, it goes back to like I think it's just to be honest, I'm sure it has a lot to do with the Big Ten being like we need people there because like the SEC has 15 or like five teams in the top five. It's like well
yeah,
or whatever it is. But I
yeah,
was like, but they also have to earn it,
earn
man.
it, which we'll get to that
Yeah,
too.
we'll get to
But
that.
yeah,
I
and
actually
Iowa,
yeah.
I do think Iowa, same kind of thing though. They played Indiana close. They lost to Iowa State. Outside of that, they did beat Penn State by one. That's when Penn State wasn't ranked anymore. Um, so again, I don't really know Iowa either. I'm kind of like,
I feel like what I've been studying lately, and when I've had time to watch them, I've been like, huh, how come we don't talk about them more? I actually feel like the Big Ten, there's several of those, like Michigan, Nebraska, USC, I don't know, whatever. But like Iowa, there's a bunch of these mid-tier teams that have like these, it's almost like a stock market that kind of goes up, but also goes down and kind of like, so is the trend up or is it just erratic? And I
right,
think that's where I'm like, Iowa's only got one loss. How are they kind of, or two
two,
losses?
two
But
losses.
I was like, I feel like they're a sleeping giant
I
in the Big Ten. And I
I
think
don't
if
know
they
that I
can
agree with
pull
Sleeping Giant, but
or
I they're
sleeping
just
average
I
tall man,
I think they're a solid mid, maybe crack the
mid to
upper.
high. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
like
also
they're
but if
yeah,
they
they're
have the home
tough
field,
out.
they have the home field advantage here. And I think for me, the hugest benefit to Iowa winning this game is I think they would be hovering around the 14-13 area.
Mhm.
Because they can't really go higher than that unless more people get two losses. But
Right.
they would start to be like, oh, you beat Oregon. Well, then Oregon has to be almost below you. So,
Well, they don't always do that in the rankings.
no, they don't. But it'll be, but I think again, there's a lot going for Iowa beat winning this game, and I think there's a lot of extra like undeserved confidence from Oregon. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how they both manage their emotions because I actually think in this game, kind of like I feel like it's it's not a rivalry game, but the rivalry game rules apply. Whoever gets the least amount of penalties will win this game. And if a home field advantage plays into that, which I think it will in Iowa, I think that they have a real shot, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I
So
do think that home field can help for sure. So I'm the more we talk, the more I'm like, Iowa, Iowa, let's go.
the
Will I
safe
pick it?
bet, yeah, the safe bet is going to be if, again, if everybody else and your group is picking different strategies, it's always a wash if you kind of pick with whatever anybody else says. But I'm like, the more I think about this one, the more I'm like, man, if you were to go Iowa, there could be some real points that you would, if you're trying to gain on somebody, this
Yeah,
might be a game to actually use.
yeah,
Um, so that's just
yeah.
my thought.
Good thought.
Okay, Texas A&M and M and Missouri. I'm
Whew.
curious what you think about this game.
I mean, I love my Tigers,
Yes,
but it's at home.
it's at home.
I I just and you've seen Texas A&M in person.
Yeah.
I still like I'm a little more convinced now with Texas A&M,
Hmm.
so I would pick them. I don't know if eight.
I
Like
agree. I
because
think this is way too high.
I don't fully trust Texas A&M still, and I feel like every year, whenever they have a great year, it's like, oh, but there's that one loss, you know?
You know what? It's this for me. I don't know that I don't trust Texas A&M, but I'm going to give respect to the SEC and say they have a lot of good teams. And on any given Saturday, one of them might have a moment. And I think Missouri could have a moment. And I mean, and also Texas could have a bad moment. And those two
Mhm.
combined is actually an upset. The thing is, it's kind of like everybody's like, is Texas A&M hinging on, is it going to be Missouri or is it going to be Texas that hands them a loss,
Yeah.
Or
Or
can they
Or
maintain
Samford, because all the SEC schedules a
that?
Division two
on,
team late in the
on a week
season.
13? Yeah, exactly.
Good job, guys. Way to
Yeah.
go.
They're like, that's our bye week, kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, um, this is the first time I've felt nervous for Texas A&M. And the reason I
Um,
say that is because I think Missouri could be like they could be like, oh, we'll get this. I mean, Vandy beat them or not. Did Vandy beat him?
no, so yeah, Missouri's
Beat
two
him.
losses are Alabama by 3 points and Vanderbilt by a touchdown.
Yeah. So
So
it's,
they're a solid team, man.
they are.
Like
And
it
Texas
could
A&M they've played some people, but I feel like they have yet to
I
really.
would I would argue Missouri's been more battle tested than
I think you're right.
A&M, and it's at home for them. Now I'm still not sure to pick Missouri,
Hmm.
but again, the more I'm talking about it, I'm like Missouri could hang around. They hung around with two really good teams,
Hmm.
and can they hang around with Texas A&M at home? And because Texas A&M, their best win, Notre Dame and LSU.
Hmm.
And then outside of that, it's been, yeah, you got Florida, you beat Florida, that's a tough game. There's some other ones, but it's like
They beat
this is their,
LSU in Death Valley. They beat Arkansas, Mississippi State, okay, whatever, Auburn. I to that point, I'm saying like I think their gauntlet is coming this like starting this week and beyond,
well,
outside of their one gimme.
it's,
But
I would say it's this week and the last week.
and Texas.
It's
Hmm.
because they go Missouri, South Carolina, Samford, Texas.
Texas. That's what I'm
So
saying.
they
Between
have
Yeah,
4 games and two of them they should win easy.
yeah, no problem. So I think again it goes back to like yeah, I still think Texas A&M, but I actually, again, all of these could be upsets. And I think that's what's hard about walking through all of this is there's very few that you're like, okay, easily.
Right.
And then you should doubt yourself if you think easily that
Yeah.
person can
Yeah.
win.
What don't I know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so I
But
think
going to the
Texas,
next, oh, go ahead.
oh, I was
So
gonna say,
what,
I agree with you, Texas A&M, but low. I actually think low.
yeah, I put
Yeah,
them low.
too high. So on
And
the other,
this would be one if people are casual pickers, they're going to put high, and you could pick an upset here, Missouri, and even keep it low, and maybe people will lose
yeah,
a high number,
I agree with you on
put
that.
it low.
Like I like that matchup predictor has at 3. I feel like that's a good spot for it.
Yeah.
Okay, Wake Forest, Virginia.
Well, coming off the whole sure thing, this should be a sure thing. I mean, 5-3 Wake Forest, 8-1 Cavaliers. but the ACC is a complete mess.
It's
Like
it's so
it's kind of what the Big 12 was last year,
mm,
where everyone's lost. I mean, the championship game, Big 12 championship game had I think two lost teams. They had four two lost teams tied for first. So
yeah.
it was Georgia Tech last week. Come on, guys! And now it's Virginia, who's the only they're 5-0 in conference. And I
Hmm.
think, and I'm like, I'm still like, let me look at Virginia's schedule. Like
Mm,
they lost to NC State and they beat Florida State. That's back when people still thought Florida State was good.
hmm.
And Louisville, actually, I'll give them Louisville's a pretty good win, I
Decent win.
think there.
Hmm.
But outside, then they played Washington State, North Carolina, Cal, and that's their last three. And I'm like, and then coming up, they got Wake Forest, Duke, Virginia Tech. So their schedule is set up pretty nice. Duke might be
Well,
the
Virginia
toughest
Tech,
out.
and to be honest, Virginia Tech and Virginia, that might be a preview of the conference championship.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's a rivalry there, so
yeah,
you never know. But
yeah.
I think this one I'd be comfortable putting Virginia high.
Oh, sorry.
But
Yeah, go ahead.
my only thought is like, really haven't been tested either. So how good are they
Yeah.
actually?
I want to correct my comment. I was thinking Virginia, Georgia Tech would be the
Oh,
conference. And
yeah,
I was
that
like,
could be it.
no, that won't be a
No.
preview of the ACC conference. But Virginia Tech is a rivalry. You're right.
Yep.
But like, you're right. Really, this and Wake Forest shouldn't, I don't know, it shouldn't be, I think keep this one high. In my opinion, this might even
Hmm.
be a 10.
This might
And
be my
so,
10. Yeah.
yeah. And so I think Virginia, no problem on this one.
Yeah.
Um, which brings me to BYU and Texas Tech. I feel like, first of all, this is way too high. Second of all, I'm pretty offended by the spread. Like, I mean, could that happen? Yes, it could happen. And
It could.
BYU could be handed a lot of humility on this one.
This
But
is one of those where you got to think about it. What does Vegas want you to
yeah,
bet?
well, and
They want people to incentivize picking BYU here, so they got to make the spread big,
pretty
I
big.
guess.
Yeah. And also too, I think if I'm listening to Drake Toll and others, they're always just like, what's best for the Big 12 right now is if BYU loses. And then they have a rematch of the same thing and BYU wins. And then
Yeah,
it's
that
like,
would
well,
be.
okay, that would be ideal. Would it be
Well,
bad?
loses
Yeah,
close.
okay. Or a
Because if they
tight
lose,
loss.
yeah,
Hmm.
if they lose close, then they sh with
It should,
every how they normally do it, it shouldn't drop them too far
they should
because
almost just switch or something
it's a
like that.
road game at Texas Tech and it's
Yeah.
close. It's like okay, but yeah, I watched a little of the Texas Tech. I've watched bits and pieces of Texas Tech, and
Yeah.
there are times when I'm just like, wow, and then there are times when I'm kind of like, okay, not like they don't look bad, but they don't look
But there's
invincible.
vulnerabilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think again it goes what's going to be I think to be honest this is what I've noticed about Texas Tech outside of the Utah game. So lately the last couple Texas Tech games they're a second half team and so is BYU. So I think the first half for this game is going to be a little messy on both sides. The second half is going to be a hard fought battle. And so it's just going to I think it's going to come down to how big of a deficit does the one team have to come back from in the half. And so if it's close, it's like a 3-3 or whatever it needs to be, then it's going to be, I think then that's when the offense turns up for both of these teams is in the second half, at least what I've
Yeah.
observed outside of the Utah game for Texas Tech. But
Yeah.
also Utah, we were scoring in the first half too. So whatever. So I think so for me, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities, and obviously as a BYU fan to say this, like I don't think I actually don't I'm not offended by the Texas Tech pick. I think what I'm nervous about is how high this is. I actually think, and the spread. I don't think Texas Tech is going to cover the spread. I think that's too big. And I think BYU is a lot more of a second half scrappy team that comes back from like double digit
Whatever.
deficits, you know?
Yeah. I still like Bear Bachmeier's awesome. He's been great. I'm still kind of like, okay,
Okay,
another
let's see
big
it.
game.
Let's
Like,
see it.
and I think
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people are doing this season with BYU is like, okay, prove it to me this week.
They're letting
Okay,
him prove
prove
it.
it to me this week. Like they
Yeah.
still are learning who they
He
are.
like
Like if we had Retzloff and we were at this point, it's like, oh, you got it last season, this season, like we're
yeah.
confident in who you are.
Yeah.
But okay, now people know, hey, 6 or 8 games in, Bears pretty good, but this is a big game, but they've said
Well,
that about Utah. They said that about Iowa State.
well, and what again to I will say what I've appreciated is they seem to be honoring what is being proved. And
Mhm.
the kind of the same with Indiana, and then we'll get to all the other comments I have about others. But for the teams that earn it, I am like as a BYU fan, I'm fine with them creeping up and like by process of incremental like increase. But I also think that has to be applied on the inverse of
to
other
to
teams.
everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. No eye tests. I didn't watch the show, but if they ever mention eye test again, I'm gonna lose my mind
don't
because
watch the show then.
it's so
Yeah,
annoying that
yeah.
I hate that metric because it's just we've said it. It's just a
An
this
incredible
is how
bias.
I feel. This is how
Yeah,
it feels to me. Like, no, you got to give me data points. You can't just do eye test.
yeah.
Um, all right. Well, so
So
what game of the week?
game of the
BYU Texas
week.
Tech.
Yeah, that's game of the week. And College Game Day is going to be there. Woo, woo.
That's game day.
And I
And
think the picker is Patrick Mahomes. So
oh, that's huge,
huge.
man.
I mean, like that's pretty big.
Or they could get Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, because he's BYU
Oh,
alum.
that'd be
Wouldn't that be
awesome.
fun?
That'd be awesome. Because I think Andy's going to be there from
Jeez.
what I've heard. Anyway, so I think that's the game of the week, upset of the week.
I'm gonna go with Iowa.
No, that's mine. But okay.
Uh,
Well, Iowa's mine, but I also think an upset of the week probably Kansas. And based on well, Nebraska and
Nebraska.
probably Florida State.
All these weird
Like
ones.
pretty
Yeah.
much all the weird ones at the bottom. But I do think the big upset of the week is going to be Iowa.
Iowa.
So,
Yep, I can see
and then
that.
maybe Missouri, asterisk by them. Watch them
Maybe
closely.
watch
Yeah.
them.
Anyway.
Yep,
All right.
sounds good. All right, good luck.
Yep, you too.